I think it was at the last time I was at like one point. And then that one girl made that shot and then the and yeah, maybe it's the last time our birthday. She's been nice for you. It was so it was the best girl thing I ever had. Yeah. Because usually not anything, but it was so like we were down and the girl shot us and I put it out first. And I was like hitting her in the camera and she and went into bro. I've been never heard it when she was so loud for the girls. Awkward quiet.
I was told the true definition of a man was to never cry, work till you're tired, got to provide, always be the rock for my fam, protect them by all means, and give you the things that you need, baby. Our relationship is suffering, trying to give you what I never had. You say I don't know how to love you, babe. Well, I say show me the way. I keep my feelings deep inside, I shadow them with my pride. I'm trying desperately, baby, just work with me. Show me the way to surrender my heart. Girl, I'm so lost. Yeah, teach me how to love. Yeah, how I can get my emotions in.
I was just thinking,
teach me
that picture was so
how to love. Show me the way to surrender my heart. Girl, I'm so lost. Teach me how to love. How I can get my emotions involved. Yeah, teach me how to love. I was always taught to be strong. Never let them think you care at all. Let no one get close to me before you break me. I done shared things with your girl about my past that I'd never tell to anyone. someone else. Just keep it to myself. Girl, I know I lack affection and expressing my feelings. It took me a minute to come and admit this, but see, I'm really trying to change that.
Yeah, I kept talking. I was like, I kept looking at him, bro. I was so scared. And now that I know that stuff, that makes it more scary.
I need all eyes here. No. Alright. Look at number 1. Do we agree or disagree with number 1's answer? Agree. Good. The answer was 4. For number 2, do we agree or disagree? Agree. Agree. Good. The answer was 2. For number 3, do we agree or disagree? Agree. Agree. We should have gotten 15. And then 4, do we agree or disagree? Agree. We should have gotten -9. Okay, you can keep that, trash that, whatever you want to do with that. What goes in this missing blank? Negative? Negative. When you multiply or divide by a negative, it changes the direction of the sign. So we are going to solve some inequalities. When we solve inequalities, it's the same way we solve equations, except now we have inequality symbols. For number 2, how would we get A by itself?
A by 2.
Subtract what?
6.
Subtract 6 divided by 3. Oh, wait. Subtracting 6 wouldn't really do anything. So 6 is less than or equal to A. So I'm going to put 6 in the middle and put other numbers around it. So 7, 8, 5, 4. Now would this go towards the right or towards the left? I'm going to rewrite this just so you can see it both ways. 6 is less than or equal to A is the same thing as A is greater than or equal to 6. Yes.
So you can tell which way the arrow goes. It's this signs pointing that way, but only if the variable's in front, right?
You can switch the sign as long as you switch everything.
Yeah,
but to tell which way it goes, think of if A is greater than or equal to 6. Think of a number that would be greater than 6. 7. So then it would go in that direction. Now, would this be an open or a closed circle? How do we know that? Because of this line. That means it's included. For number 3, how would we get A by itself? Okay, so you can multiply both sides by 2 to multiply by the reciprocal, or you can multiply or divide by 1/2, which is the same thing as multiplying by 2. So these cancel, and A is less than 40. So I'm going to put 40 in the middle and put numbers around it. 41, 42, 39, 38. Would this go to the right or to the left? To the left. Would this be an open or a closed circle?
Open.
It would be open because this one does not have a line. Right. For number 6, so that's kind of like what you had on your warm-up, but now we have inequalities with it. What would we do first? Okay, and yes, you can do that first. You could have also moved 7. It doesn't matter. So if we're distributing first, 12t minus 20 plus 7 is greater than or equal to 8t plus 3.
Can you move 7?
8t plus 3. Okay, then what?
Can you move 7?
You could move 7. Or you could combine. So let's do that, just because we'll end up moving 2 things if we don't. Negative 20 plus 7 is what? Negative 13. And now we have options. What do we want to move? I heard the 8 first. So 4t minus 13 is greater than or equal to 3.
Plus 13.
Add 13 on both sides. So 4t is greater than or equal to 16. So t is greater than or equal to 4. Would that go to the right or to the left?
The right.
To the right. And it would be closed. We're going to do one more together. When we come back, you're going to have time to do some of these on your own. Let's do 8. So for 8, there's a lot of stuff going on. What should we do first? Distribute. But we're going to do that twice. So 3z, my z's are going to be the ones with lines in them, plus 8z plus 4 is less than or equal to 12z plus 2. Now what? Put 8z and 3z together to get 11z plus 4 is less than or equal to 12z plus 2. Now we again have options. I mean, it doesn't matter. So let's do 12z just so that we switch something. So negative z plus 4 is less than or equal to 2. And then we need to subtract. Are we done? No.
Yes.
There's still a negative, so we need to divide by that negative. And when we do that, what happens? The sign flips. So now this is z is greater than or equal to 2. Even if we hadn't chosen 12, you would still get z is greater than or equal to 2. Alright, is this going to go to the right or to the left?
Right.
To the right. And will this be open or closed? So you could start now, but when we come back, you're going to do the 4 we did not do, and then we're going to move on to other things in this packet. Alright, I want you to check your answers with this work. I'm going to go through these kind of quickly.
Wait.
So number 1 was x is greater than or equal to 20 with a closed circle pointing to the right. Or be careful when you do your number line, because when you do your negatives, it gets higher as you go to the right. So negative 11, negative 10, negative 9, it goes up. But this should be an open circle to the right. Where did the because you divided by a negative. For 5, you may have done this a little differently, but we should end up with the same outcome. For 5, this should be an open circle to the left. Do we have questions on those 3? For 7, you had to distribute twice, just like we did in 8. I combine my terms before moving anything, and then I'm gonna start moving things. Doesn't really matter. So, if you did yours a little differently, that's okay. So in this case, you divided by a number that was negative, but you didn't divide by a negative, so your sign shouldn't change. There should still be p is less than negative 8. And then again, be careful with your number line. This is still going to be an open circle to the left. Questions on that one? On the next page, some of you started this, and that's fine. This is going to be your homework. You'll have time to work on this later. If you already did it, that's fine. You don't have homework now. Flip to this page. Now, if you see your name or see a friend you know, that doesn't mean that I think that they did this wrong or that they did this wrong. It's just I'm choosing different students. So, if we're looking at both of these students, did either of these 2 students solve this wrong? Jay solved it wrong. What did he do wrong?
He flipped the sign.
When he shouldn't have. So he was dividing by a number that was negative, but he wasn't dividing by a negative number, so he should not have switched the sign. And then Owen did this correctly. Okay. For this one, we're going to talk about this more in depth. This is called a compound inequality. You won't really see problems like this. Pre-AP Algebra 1 does these. So I'm going to show you what they should have done so you know what they did wrong. Because there are 2 things on the outsides, you are doing whatever to both of them. So you're still trying to get x by itself, but you would add 5 to both of these numbers. And divide by -2 to both numbers. And because we're dividing by a negative, the signs are going to switch. So, what did Nisi do wrong?
She only did to one side.
She only did the first.
Yeah, add 5.
Add 5. So that messed this up. Anything else that she did wrong? She didn't flip the signs because why? Why didn't she flip her signs?
She didn't keep the negative.
She didn't keep the negative. Her negative disappeared. So there was a lot of things wrong with that. What about Ashley? She didn't keep the negative. She also didn't keep the negative. Didn't add to the 7. That would be here. She didn't add the signs. And then didn't flip the signs because that negative went away. So be mindful, because little things like that will change your entire problem. Okay. Questions on this? Right, now we're going to do some word problems. Right now, we are dealing with one variable word problems. When we were doing word problems with systems, we had 2 variables. We will do 2 variables later, but right now these are just 1. Also, some of the wording didn't get fixed. So I think yours may say Michael and Sebastian. Just change one of the names so that they're the same. Mine doesn't. Yours may. So look on your paper.
So
Also,
Michael and Sebastian.
change one of them to be the same. Same thing with the next one. Mine says Zara. I think yours says Zara and Jada. So change one of those so that it's the same name throughout. Also, I'm going to change this question to how many hours. Okay. So for this first word problem, Michael has $65 to spend at the mall. He bought a t-shirt for $18 and a belt for $14. If Michael wants a pair of jeans, how much can he spend? So we know all the numbers are important. And we want to know how much he can spend. So that's some variable we don't know. And because we're dealing with inequalities, these will not have equal signs. So, and I meant to mention this earlier. When you're solving, do not change your inequality to an equal sign because it will mess up your problem. Same thing here. These are inequality word problems, so we should have inequalities in them. If he has $65 to spend, can he spend more than that? No. So everything he pays for has to be less than or equal to this. How would we set up this equation? We have to use X somewhere. Would it be times X? Because we don't know what he's spending that on. Why subtract it?
And you would end up adding the total. Why not?
You would do what? Add X. Because we know how much the t-shirt costs, we know how much the belt costs, we don't know how much he can spend, which is what we're looking for, or how much is left, yes. And then we know he can spend at most $65. Can't spend more than that. So we can add these two together and solve for X. What is that, 32? So X has to be less than or equal to 33. So he could spend up to $33 and no more than that. It matters just so you know how much the most you can spend. That's really all it matters for. Yeah. Because can he spend more than $65? No, so it has to be, everything else has to be less than or equal to 65. It can be equal to, it just can't be more than or greater than. Good point. Alright, for the next one, Zara's babysitting at $8 per hour to earn money for a car. So far, she's saved $1,300 or $1,300. The car that Zara wants to buy costs at least $5,440. How many hours does Zara still need to work to buy the car? So, yes, all of the numbers are important. $8 per hour. She has $1,300 saved. The total of $5,440 and at least. That word "at least" is really important. Now, in real life, the reason this says "at least" because that is just the price of the car. That's not including if you need to go purchase plates, license plates, decorative things for your car if you want that, gas, anything extra you need for your car. That's not included in that. That's why it says "at least." So it could cost more than that. So it'd be greater than or equal to, yes. So anytime it says "at least," this can be greater than or equal to. I'm going to say H is the number of hours. How would we set this up?
8x plus 1,300 is
Or equal to. Exactly. Yes. So, okay, this is a really good question. Why aren't we adding x like we did in the first problem?
Because she gets 8 per hour.
Because she gets 8 per hour. So the first hour, $8. The second hour, $16. In the first problem, he had some amount left over. It was different. It wasn't like okay, so let's start solving this. 8H. What would this be when we subtract it?
4,140.
Now, the reason I changed this question is if it asks for how much money, well, that's how much money she still needs. That would be the answer to that question. We want to find how many hours she needs to work to get that much money. So H has to be greater than or equal to what? What?
I got what's our running 500?
Yeah, 41.
Point
five.
Round it. 0.5.
Oh, that's what you got.
Can you have a decimal of an hour?
Yeah.
Yes. How would it be? Half an
517
hour.
hours, 30 minutes.
Exactly.
You didn't divide it.
Oh, she was talking about the being round.
So in this case, we wouldn't round because we can have half of an hour. You could round and say just work 518 hours, yes. Then she'll have over that amount she needs.
Would you round for a song?
Let's see. Alright, so I'm going to help you set this up, then I want you to solve it, and then we'll talk about the answer. So Amar's buying a movie for $5 and a few songs from Apple Music. He has $50 to spend. Sales tax will be $10, If each song costs $1.99, write and solve an inequality to find the greatest number of songs he can buy.
Sales tax.
I don't know why it's that high. I just made up numbers.
No, what is sales tax?
Oh, that's like when you go to the store and they say everything's $1, so you buy 10 things, but then it's more than just $10. That's sales tax event. 10 plus what at 5? Sorry, say the whole thing one more time. It's 5 plus this. You might get it. I know it in French.
Where's the 1.9?
Yeah, where's the 199?
Oh. Okay, so where would that go?
The S.
With the S. Now it would be less than or equal to. I couldn't phrase my question, sorry. Because he can't spend more than $50. He can't go past the amount of money he has. I want you to go ahead and take a second and solve this. Don't say the answer, just go ahead and solve this. Now, let's talk about this answer. Can we have 0.58 of a song?
No.
No.
Round.
So we're going to round, but
But
what
you
do we
have to
round to?
You have to
It
give.
should be 18.
No, you-
Would fix 5 to 6, 7 to 8.
I want you to do this. 15 plus 1.99 times 18. Is this a true statement? So can you get 18? No.
17.6.
Apple Music, something where you get
17.
music.
How much is 17? What?
So-
Like $9 a month.
So just so we are all on the same page, if you have a decimal, I want you to check it.
Here's the item.
Round up. Will you get more or less than the number you need? If you get more and you're not supposed to, you can't get that number. If you get less, that's okay. So he can get 17 songs. I did the last week, but that's all we have. I don't know all the points.
I know some. I need it.
Alright, for this one, anytime you get a word problem like this, that's not really a word problem, but you're translating, you need to look for any words that say less than, more than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, more than, and is also equal to anything of that area. Do you see something that looks like that?
More than.
That's going to tell you your inequality. What inequality would that be? It would be greater than. And then we could go through and find all of your operations. What operations do you see?
Times.
I heard
Plus.
subtraction, minus, times,
Plus.
plus,
And then there's another
and then another times. So we know that's subtraction, multiplication, multiplication, plus. What would 5 minus 6 times a number look like? 5 minus 6
times the number, then the
and then our inequality greater than 4 times that same number plus 45. This
4x plus 45.
Now, this is not asking you to solve this, but you could. You could solve this if it asked you to. Let me explain what you're doing for the rest of class. You can either do your homework, that way it's done, and then do this activity, or you can start on the activity. We are going to be working on this next class, so if you don't finish it, it's not homework. But we need to listen. Go back to your seat for 1 second. Alright, so around the room there are 10 inequalities. You don't have to go to them in order, but you do need to put each number in the correct spot. This is 1, that's 7. The numbers look very similar, just so we all know. You are going to solve this work on this paper in the box, and then on the back, whatever that answer you get is, you're going to put that word in. It's a math Mad Lib. I have clipboards if you need them, and I'll put them up here. Do we have questions on this? Do you have a question? Okay. So you can either work on your homework or start on this. Those are the only 2 things we are working on though.